In the dim glow of a flickering street lamp, Cale clutched the worn leather bag his mother had given him before she died, his heart pounding as he raced through the rain-slicked alleys. He was only 12, but the world had already taught him to run from hunger, from the cold, from the shadows that whispered of a life without hope. Tonight, though, he wasn't running from strangers. He was running toward the one person who had promised to save him, his Uncle Harlan, the man who had appeared like a beacon after Cale's parents were lost in that terrible factory fire 2 years ago. Harlan had found Cale scavenging in the markets, his small frame bent over crates of discarded fruit. "Boy," he'd said, his voice rough but kind, "you're my sister's kid, come with me." No more scraping by on the streets. Cale had hesitated, his wide eyes searching for lies in the man's face, but there was something familiar in those crinkled eyes, an echo of his mother's smile. So he went, leaving behind the orphanage that had spit him out like unwanted scraps. At first, life with Harlan felt like a dream pieced together from broken wishes. They lived in a cramped apartment above a noisy workshop where Harlan fixed old machines for a living. It wasn't much, a single room with a sagging bed they shared, a stove that sputtered black smoke, and walls thin enough to hear the neighbors' arguments. But Harlan taught Cale how to tinker with gears and wires, his big hands guiding the boy's smaller ones. "See here, nephew, twist it just so, and it comes alive." Cale's fingers, once raw from begging, learned to create. He fixed a broken clock for the lady downstairs, earning a few coins and a pat on the back. For the first time, he felt useful, seen. Harlan shared stories too, late into the night when the city quieted. He'd talk about Cale's mother, how she laughed like wind chimes and dreamed of opening a bakery. "She'd be proud of you, kid, tough as nails just like her." Those words wrapped around Cale like a warm blanket, chasing away the nightmares of the fire that had taken everything. Harlan became more than family, he was the anchor in a stormy sea. Cale trusted him completely, sharing his fears of being alone again, his secret hopes of one day building something grand, like a machine that could fly. But cracks appeared slowly, like rust creeping over metal. Harlan started disappearing for hours, coming back with the sharp smell of cheap liquor on his breath. He'd mutter about debts, about one big score that would change everything. Cale noticed the way his uncle's eyes darted when collectors knocked on the door, their fists like thunder. "Just a rough patch," Harlan would say, ruffling Cale's hair. "We'll fix it together." Cale believed him because what else could he do? He was just a boy, and Harlan was all he had. One rainy afternoon, everything shifted. Cale came home from scavenging parts in the junkyard to find Harlan pacing the room, his face pale and drawn. "Sit down, nephew. We need to talk." Cale's stomach twisted as Harlan explained a plan, a way out of their poverty. There was a wealthy merchant in town, a man named Roderick, who collected rare artifacts. Harlan had heard about a hidden vault in the old mill, guarded but vulnerable. "We sneak in, grab a few trinkets, sell 'em quick. No one gets hurt. It's our ticket to a better life." Cale's eyes widened, but "Uncle, that's stealing." "What if we get caught?" Harlan knelt down, his grip firm on Cale's shoulders. "Trust me, boy, I've scouted it. You're small, quick, you can slip through the vents. I'll be right outside, think of it. A real home, food every day, maybe even school for you." The words painted a picture Cale couldn't resist. He nodded, fear mixing with excitement. For Harlan, he'd do anything. That night, under a moonless sky, they crept toward the mill. Cale's heart hammered as he squeezed through the narrow vent, the metal cold against his skin. Inside, the vault loomed like a dark promise. He fumbled with the lock, using the tools Harlan had taught him, his mind racing with doubts. What if this changed them? But he pushed on for his uncle, for their future. The trinkets glittered in his flashlight's beam, a golden locket, a jeweled dagger, a small statue of some forgotten god. He stuffed them into his bag, his breath shallow. As he crawled back out, Harlan's face lit up in the shadows. "You did it, kid, we're set." They ran home, laughter bubbling despite the fear, Harlan's arm around Cale's shoulders like a shield. For a few days, it seemed perfect. Harlan sold the items through shady contacts, bringing home bags of coins. They ate hot meals, fresh bread, stew with actual meat. Harlan even bought Cale a new pair of boots, the first he'd owned without holes. "See, I told you, we're a team." Cale beamed, the guilt fading under the warmth of security. He started dreaming bigger, sketching inventions on scraps of paper, showing them to Harlan, who nodded approvingly. But then the whispers started. Neighbors avoided their eyes. The workshop fell silent as customers vanished. One evening, as Cale tinkered with a broken radio, the door burst open. Two burly men stormed in, their faces twisted in anger. "Where's Harlan? He owes us." They ransacked the room, flipping tables, shattering tools. Cale cowered in the corner, his voice a whisper. "He's out, please stop." Harlan returned later, bruised and shaken. "It's nothing, boy, just old business." But Cale saw the lie in his eyes. That night, as they lay in the dark, Harlan confessed bits and pieces. The debts were deeper than he'd let on gambling losses from before Cale arrived. The heist money had paid some, but not all. "I need more time," he murmured. Cale reached out, squeezing his uncle's hand. "We'll figure it out together." Desperation grew like a weed. Harlan's plans turned bolder, riskier. He dragged Cale into another job, a warehouse on the city's edge, stocked with imported silks. "Just one more, nephew, then we're free." Cale went, his hands trembling as he cut through a fence. Inside, the air smelled of spice and wealth. He grabbed what he could, his mind screaming warnings. As he escaped, a guard's shout echoed behind him. He ran, faster than ever, straight into Harlan's waiting arms. The money flowed again, but so did the fear. Cale couldn't sleep, haunted by the what-ifs. "Uncle, can we stop?" "We have enough." Harlan's face hardened. "One last one, the big one, trust me." The final job targeted Roderick's mansion itself. Harlan had inside info, a safe in the study filled with gems. "You're the key, boy." Small enough to go unnoticed, Cale protested, tears stinging his eyes. "I don't want to, it's wrong." But Harlan's voice softened, pleading, "For us, for your mother's memory, she'd want you safe." Guilt twisted Cale's resolve. He agreed one last time. The night was stormy, thunder masking their approach. Cale climbed through a window, his body aching from the strain. The mansion was a labyrinth of luxury, polished floors, paintings taller than him. He found the study, cracked the safe with shaking fingers. Inside, diamonds sparkled like stars. As he pocketed them, a floorboard creaked. He froze. Roderick stood there, pistol in hand, eyes cold. "Thief!" Cale bolted, but the man was faster, grabbing his arm. In the struggle, Cale's bag ripped, gems scattering. He wrenched free, diving out the window into the rain. Harlan was nowhere. Panic surged as Cale ran alone, shouts and footsteps behind him. He made it home, soaked and terrified, but Harlan wasn't there. Hours passed, dawn broke, still nothing. Cale paced, worry gnawing at him, then a knock. "Police." "We're looking for Harlan. He's wanted for multiple thefts." The story unraveled like a frayed wire. Harlan had been using Cale, setting him up as the fall guy. The heists were part of a larger scheme, Harlan fencing goods through a network that now pointed fingers at the boy. Witnesses described a small accomplice. Cale's world cracked. "No, he wouldn't," he whispered, but the evidence piled up, notes in Harlan's handwriting, planning the jobs without escape plans for Cale. They took him in for questioning, the officers' voices blurring into noise. "Your uncle sold you out, kid, gave your description to save his skin." Cale sat in the cold cell, betrayal sinking in like poison. The man he'd trusted, the one who'd promised family, had shattered him for coins. Days blurred. Cale was released to a shelter, too young for charges but marked as a thief's kin. He wandered the streets again, the leather bag his only companion. Hunger returned, colder now with the ache of loss. He fixed small things for scraps, his hands mechanical, his heart numb. Months later, a letter arrived at the shelter, smudged and anonymous. Cale's fingers trembled as he opened it. Harlan's scrawl: "I'm sorry, nephew, I got scared. The debts, they were going to kill me. I left you behind to protect you. Use the skills I taught, be better." Enclosed was a single gem hidden from the heists. Rage boiled, then sorrow. Cale sold the gem, bought tools, and started over. He built inventions in hidden corners, fixing the broken world one piece at a time. Years passed, he grew into a quiet man, running a workshop of his own, helping street kids like he once was. One evening, an old man shuffled in, eyes downcast. "Need this clock fixed." Cale looked up and froze. "Harlan's withered and broken, uncle." Harlan's face crumpled. "Cale, I never stopped regretting." Words tumbled out, how he'd fled, lived in hiding, haunted by guilt. "I thought I'd save us, but I destroyed you." "Forgive me." Cale's hands clenched the clock. Emotions warred, anger, pain, the faint echo of love. He repaired the clock in silence, then handed it back. "It's fixed, but some things stay broken." Harlan nodded, tears falling. As he turned to leave, Cale whispered, "Wait." He pulled out the old leather bag, now mended. "Take this, start over." Harlan hugged him fiercely, whispering thanks. But as he walked away, Cale felt the twist. The bag held nothing but memories and a note. "You taught me trust is fragile, I won't break again." In that moment, Cale realized the true shatter wasn't the betrayal, but the rebuilding. He had become strong, not despite Harlan, but through the pain. And in letting go, he found peace, not in forgiveness, but in the quiet power of choosing his own path. The orphan's life, once shattered, now gleamed like polished steel, unbreakable.